On today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this from start to finish.
This is the Old Guy Network.
Yep. Welcome back to the Old Guy Network. I'm the Old Guy, the OG, Jay. Nice to have you here in the trailer hood. And, well, I didn't do a video the other day on Wednesday, but I have one today. I've been putting a lot of time into my CNC laser machine, a lot more than I thought I was going to have to. But it takes me a while to learn stuff, and it's getting much, much better. As a matter of fact, I did a lot of projects, completed them, and then I learned how to use the machine correctly. Now everything that I made looks like crap to me, and the stuff that I'm making now is a lot better, about 10 times better. So I'm pretty happy with that. Lightburn is a wonderful product if you are getting into CNC laser etching and burning and all that good stuff. Lightburn, that's what you want to have. Get one of the other free programs first, learn a little bit more about the machine, and then go back to Lightburn. That's what I did. And if you're like me, that's what you want to do. But today, I made this for a friend of mine. He hasn't even seen this yet. He's going to see this for the first time on this video, I'm sure. But this was something that I wanted to make for him after I learned how to engrave properly with the laser. And I thought, well, just for the heck of it, I'll show you just how much time goes into a little project like this. So let's head on out to the shop and check that out. And the first thing we start with is a pallet, of course. I do everything out of pallet wood. And I'm going to show you every process to get to the finished sign. Now, this pallet I'm not going to use because it's a softwood pallet, and I'm just using it. I'm just showing you this as a point of reference. Now, the bed on the CNC machine that I have will only accept up to 7 inches by 11 inches. So I don't have to take a crowbar and be careful about dismantling a pallet. Basically, all I'm going to do is just cut the edges off, the ends of those boards, and rip it right down with a skill saw. But I already have some cut up, and I'll show you what that looks like. After the pallet is cut, then it is placed in piles to dry. Most pallets are left outside, so they've got some moisture to them. And as you can see, I've got these little skewers on top of the pallets and between each layer of pallet wood. And that's to allow air to go inside and dry it all out. Now, these have been sitting here for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we can go ahead and start working the wood. And as you can see, it is cupped, it is warped, and that brings us to our joiner. Before I bring this over and cut it on the joiner, two things I had to do. First of all, it was a little too wide for the joiner, so I cut it down with the table saw. However, before I place it on the joiner, I placed this in my metal detector, and I didn't see that right there. There are nails right there. That's it. That's the only place where there's some metal, so I don't want to run that in to the joiner. So I'm going to trim this up again with the table saw, and then we'll be good to go. And as you can see, I cut this down a little bit with the table saw. We're still going to edge this with the joiner, but yeah, actually the stock looks pretty good now. And we only need about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, so this is going to work well. Got it planed on one side, and we've done one edge, and it looks really nice. Now let's move on to the planer. Now our board is at the same thickness. That's nice.
planed on both sides, edged on one side. So now, finally, it's time to put this in the table saw again, and we're going to trim up this side so it's nice and smooth. Now, to make things completely square, we're going to use my compound miter saw. We're not done yet. Now we have a nice, perfectly squared off piece of wood, and this is perfect for making what I'm about to make. I'm just making a little plaque, and one thing you have to consider is when you're burning this on a laser, after it's burned, I can't sand this, and I want this to be really nice and smooth. So I'm just going to sand the cutting surface with 400 grit sandpaper and my palm sander. And you'll see, I'm not going to take very long with it. Now that is really nice and smooth, and that's going to make a really nice image on this piece when I'm all done.
This is my CNC machine bed, and as you can see, I've got some tape on here. It's double-faced carpet tape. I don't use clamps when I'm doing laser cutting, doing any laser burning. Don't really need the clamps, they just kind of get in the way, and the clamps that I have for my CNC don't really work very well anyway. I've got to get new ones. But I just put down some double-sided tape. I use that for many different things that I've done on here, and then when it's just not sticky anymore, I unpeel it and put a new piece on. And I've also put a little piece right on here on the stock. And that should be very secure and ready to go. Just have to position the piece on the bed and see where it is, and I can do that by firing the laser at very low power. And it's not picking it up on the camera very well. You can barely see it there. Oh, now you can see it. Let me change this just a little bit. And that's good right there. That looks like a pretty good place to start. Now I'm just going to trim this up and get it to the right size, and we'll be ready for the next step. Just a few drops of glue to put the back on, and as you can see, it is done. Really nice piece of wood. We started off with a piece of pallet wood, which wasn't so good, and now it is a beautiful piece of wood, and it's got a nice etching on it, and it just looks great. And I don't think I need to put anything. If I had some oil maybe, but you shouldn't add anything to it anyway except for polycoat or varnish, because if we were to put a stain on here or some kind of oil, beeswax, it may distort the image because it would allow the wood to swell just a little bit. So we don't want to do that. If I wanted to stain this, I would have had to have done that after I'd sanded it and before I cut it. But I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't, because I really like the way that turned out. And you don't have to worry about polycoat. You can put poly right over this. It doesn't swell up the wood. As a matter of fact, it holds the wood in place, so all the little fibers in place. But that looks pretty nice. And I cut this, just so you know, at 15 degrees. When you set it down, it tilts at 15 degrees, and that looks pretty nice. So there you have it, start to finish, my little plaque project. And that didn't really take that long. The most time was burning it, and that only took about 39 minutes from start to finish. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm learning how to use this a little bit better, the CNC machine that is, and I think that this came out really nice. I hope Kevin likes it.